Currently, it is estimated there are 250,000 unsolved murders in the United States. Tragically, that number increases by around 6,000 every single year. According to data collected by the FBI, only 45% of violent crimes result in an arrest and conviction. Only 62% of murders and just 35% of sexual assaults are ever solved. These statistics show that sadly many cases fall through the cracks and go cold. Welcome to the Mystery Project. My name is Patrick, and on this channel we dive into some of the most mysterious missing persons cases, as well as chilling true crime stories. Make sure to like and subscribe for more mysteries. Here are two currently unsolved cold cases from the state of Kansas. On the 29th of April, 1993, 35-year-old Kathryn Adam went missing in Salina, Kansas. Nearly 3 decades have passed since her disappearance, and authorities are still no closer to discovering what happened or who was involved. In the early morning hours of April 29, 1993, around 4:30 a.m., Kathryn was last seen at a quick stop convenience store on the west side of Crawford Street in Salina. She was fueling up and getting ready to begin her work as a delivery driver for a stocking and pantyhose company. In fact, the full-size Ford van she was driving had the "She Has Legs" decal on the sides. That would sadly be the last time she was ever seen. The very next day, her 16-year-old daughter reported her missing. Police immediately began searching for Kathryn, and around 5:45 that same day, they were able to locate the Legs van she was driving. It had been abandoned outside of a nearby restaurant called Russell's. At that time, the restaurant was closed for remodeling, and there were no signs of Kathryn. However, the police were starting to consider foul play because the outside of the van was splattered with mud, and inside the van a large amount of blood was discovered. Police also found blood in the storage unit that Kathryn used to restock her supply. It was speculated that someone attacked her when she went inside the unit because the door was left open, making it seem that she had been interrupted while loading the merchandise into her van. Sadly, the case has been cold for decades now, and no body has ever been recovered, and the case is still openly classified as a homicide. Investigators periodically review her disappearance in hopes of coming up with some kind of answers as to what happened to Kathryn, but even with advances in modern technology, there hasn't been much movement towards solving this case. Recently, however, a human skull was found in the west side of Salina, in the same general area as the storage facility, but a positive identification hasn't been made yet. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation is assisting the Saline County Sheriff's Office in this investigation and encourages anyone with even the smallest amount of information to please come forward. On June 25th of 2016, Lori Heimer was brutally murdered in her Assyria, Kansas home. The day of, her husband Ronald was out harvesting wheat on their 80-acre farm. He last saw his wife around 11 a.m. that morning when he came home to make lunch and then returned to working out on his property. Lori also operated a dog breeding company out of her home, known as Lori's Poodle Patch. Her business Facebook page had prices listed between $1,000 and $1,500 per puppy, but it also listed her full physical address. She advertised across Kansas, Oklahoma, and even Colorado. On the day of her murder, she had an appointment to show one of her puppies to a potential client around 5:30 p.m., but it is not known if that appointment was kept. Lori had planned to go out and eat barbecue with family after the appointment, but she never showed up. One of her daughters, named Katie, along with her husband Austin, went to Lori's house to check on her, and that's when they found her body, around 7:30 p.m. that night. Her cause of death has not been publicly released, although it is frequently labeled as brutal and family is on the record saying there was a large amount of blood on the floor and the walls of the house when she was found. Authorities searched for leads and even a motive, but with the house not being torn apart nor any items taken, it was very hard to find one. And because Lori was the only person involved in the dog breeding business, it wasn't clear if any of the nearly 50 dogs or puppies were missing. There is a campground not far from their home, but in late June it's harvest time, and strangers driving up and down the country roads wouldn't have been out of place. A week prior to her murder, a man had stopped by to inquire about her dogs, because she also had a large sign advertising the poodle patch down by the road out front. Unfortunately, it is not known if that man did so, or if he was in fact the person scheduled to visit that day at 5:30. Authorities were also trying to identify 2 trucks seen in the area around the time she was attacked. One of them was a large maroon flatbed, possibly a Chevy, with a white bumper, driven by a man in his mid-50s with salt and pepper hair. Also a smaller 2-tone blue truck that was pretty beat up but had a brand new tailgate, driven by a man in his 40s with long hair and glasses. Lori's murder shocked the very small, close-knit farming community of Assyria, Kansas, especially if she lost her life for something as trivial as a designer puppy. She is survived by 4 adult daughters and 4 grandchildren, and was a beloved member of the small Kansas town. Hopefully one day both of these cases will be solved. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Mystery Project. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more mysteries.